Welcome to Audioverse Listening Library, where every word awakens the power within. Thank you for reaching out. In this chapter, we step into the silent workshop where your destiny is shaped, not by chance, not by luck, but by the images you rehearse in the privacy of your own mind. Imagination isn't fantasy. It is the blueprint of your becoming, the mental architecture behind every achievement the world has ever seen. Tonight, we explore how the pictures you hold slowly become the life you live. Imagination, the silent workshop where every future is first crafted, the invisible space where desire gains shape and ideas take their very first breath. Before anything appears in the world, before a goal becomes a plan, before success becomes reality, it starts here, inside you. Most people believe imagination is childish, but in truth, it is the oldest creative force in human existence. Every invention, every business, every scientific revolution, every fortune was once only a picture in someone's mind. Your imagination is not entertainment, it is power, the power that shapes destiny. Today, we step into the workshop of the mind, not as dreamers, but as architects of our future. Inside your mind, there is a private theater where you can play any scene you want. This is where thoughts turn into pictures, where feelings turn into images, and where desire begins to transform into something more concrete. Every successful person, knowingly or unknowingly, uses this inner theater. They rehearse their future before it arrives. They build mentally so they can build physically. And here is the truth. If your imagination is weak, your results will be limited. If your imagination is strong, your possibilities expand beyond logic. Because imagination does not obey your present circumstances, it obeys your beliefs, your desires, and your focus. Think of every major transformation in your life. A job you wanted, a relationship, a dream you pursued, something you finally achieved. Before any of it happened, you imagined it. Your imagination is the first dimension where your goals exist. The physical world is the last stage of manifestation. Most people try to change life directly, but the wise change it mentally first, because imagination determines what you notice, what you pursue, what you feel worthy of, what actions seem possible, what opportunities you attract. This is why two people can look at the same world, and one sees limitations, while the other sees possibilities. The difference, not luck, not talent, not intelligence, imagination. There are two forms of imagination, and knowing the difference will transform how you create your future. 1. Synthetic imagination. This is when your mind takes old ideas, old memories, old knowledge, and rearranges them into something useful. Most planning, organizing, and problem-solving uses synthetic imagination. It's powerful, but it's still limited by what you already know. 2. Creative imagination. This is the higher channel. The place where new ideas arrive from nowhere, where inspiration sparks without warning, where intuition becomes louder than logic. This is the imagination used by inventors, writers, visionaries, entrepreneurs, and spiritual leaders. Creative imagination is not thinking harder, it's receiving deeper. And the more you quiet your mind, the more you feel this channel opening. Imagination is not fantasy, it is the bridge. When you imagine with emotion, repetition, and clarity, your mind begins to craft a blueprint for your desire. Not everything you imagine becomes real, but everything you make real, you imagined first. The mind always builds internally before building externally. The invisible always precedes the visible. Most people skip this part. They jump into action without vision and then wonder why their results feel scattered. Imagination is not optional. It is step one. Before you take action, you must see the outcome. Not vaguely, not occasionally, but repeatedly until the image becomes familiar. When an imagined future becomes familiar, your mind naturally moves toward it. Actions follow automatically. Opportunities become visible. Confidence rises. Doubt weakens. This is the psychology of manifestation, not magic, mental blueprinting. This is the foundation. Your imagination is the quiet craftsman behind every success you will ever create. But this is only the beginning. Science has confirmed something ancient traditions always knew. Your brain cannot fully distinguish between a deeply imagined experience and a real one. When you imagine something with clarity and emotion, your brain activates the same neural networks you would use if you were actually living it. Imagine practicing a speech. Your neurons fire as if you're on stage. Imagine improving a skill. Your brain begins strengthening the circuits responsible for that skill. Imagine becoming confident. Your mind starts reducing fear and increasing inner certainty. This is why athletes visualize their movements, why public speakers rehearse in their mind, why entrepreneurs mentally rehearse success before they ever see it in real life. Your imagination trains your brain before reality arrives. You are literally pre-building your future self. Most people look for opportunities, but people with a strong imagination attract them. Here's why. When you imagine something repeatedly, your brain begins filtering the world through a new lens. You notice things you ignored before. You recognize patterns faster. You sense possibilities that others cannot see. It's not luck. It's a shift in mental frequency. When you picture your future clearly, you speak differently. You make decisions faster. You take aligned actions. Your energy becomes intentional. Your presence becomes magnetic. People feel it. Opportunities gravitate toward it. This is not superstition. It is psychology. The future you imagine determines the future you meet. Imagination is not always your friend. If you don't direct it deliberately, it will create fear by default. Humans have a powerful negative imagination, imagining the worst, expecting failure, predicting rejection, rehearsing fear, magnifying problems, assuming danger. This creates anxiety, not because life is dangerous, but because your imagination is. Fear is imagination used against yourself. And here's the shocking truth. Your mind believes negative imagination faster than positive imagination because fear feels more urgent. So unless you consciously guide your imaginative power, it will build the reality you don't want. That's why powerful people don't only visualize success. They also discipline their imagination to stop creating unnecessary suffering. Master your imagination, and you master fear itself. Let's look at real examples, not just theories. Example 1. Athletes. Olympic athletes visualize their movement thousands of times. Their brain builds the performance before their body performs it. This is why their actions look smooth, precise, effortless. Example 2. Entrepreneurs. Every major company began as a picture in someone's mind. Airbnb, Uber, Tesla. These weren't obvious ideas at the time, but they were vividly imagined long before they were real. Example 3. Artists and writers. Storytellers mentally walk through worlds that do not yet exist. Musicians hear melodies before they touch instruments. Painters see colors before the canvas receives them. Example 4. Everyday life. You do this too. You imagine a trip before going. You imagine a conversation before having it. You imagine a new version of yourself before becoming it. Most of your life is shaped mentally before you even notice it. Imagination isn't a luxury. It's the engine behind every transformation you've ever experienced. Here is the most important psychological mechanism. Your imagination creates emotion. Emotion creates belief. Belief shapes action. Action strengthens imagination. This is the loop that builds your destiny. For example, if you imagine success, you feel motivated. That motivation creates confidence. That confidence drives action. That action gives results. Those results make your imagination stronger. But the reverse is also true. If you imagine failure, you feel fear. Fear reduces belief. Low belief kills action. Lack of action creates bad results. Those results make your imagination darker. This is why imagination must be consciously upgraded. If not, it repeats past patterns and limits your present potential. Mental rehearsal is one of the strongest tools successful people use. Here's what it does. Reduces anxiety, increases certainty, strengthens mental blueprint, improves skill performance, makes you emotionally familiar with future success. If you repeatedly imagine yourself doing something well, your brain begins to treat that success as familiar, not foreign. And the brain loves what is familiar. This gives you calmness under pressure, precision during execution, trust in your ability, and a sense of, I already know this. This is one of the most powerful psychological hacks in existence. Imagination is not just a mental exercise. It is the system that rewires your brain, expands your awareness, shifts your emotional state, and shapes your future actions. Now that you understand the science and psychology, it's time for the final step. Imagination alone is powerful. But imagination without structure becomes daydreaming. To transform imagination into results, you must move it from floating pictures to structured direction. Here is the process successful people use. Step 1. Define the picture. Your vision must be specific enough that your mind can hold it. Not a blurry feeling, not a general wish, but a clear, emotionally charged image. Step 2. Extract the elements. Every vision contains smaller pieces. Skills, habits, people, resources, steps, environments, timelines. Break the vision into parts your mind can work with. Step 3. Convert elements into actionable seeds. Instead of saying, I want success, your imagination converts it into seeds like, I'll learn this, I'll show up here, I'll improve this habit, I'll reach out to this person. Step 4. Create the blueprint. Now, desire becomes architecture. Ideas become instructions. Dreams become structure. Imagination gives form to the future before reality gives it substance. The more senses you involve in imagination, the more powerful it becomes. Most people only use visual imagination, but you have 4 more senses your mind can simulate. Ask yourself, what would my success look like? What would it sound like? What would it feel like emotionally? What would the environment around me feel like? What would this version of me do daily? When your imagination becomes multisensory, your brain treats it as reality. The more real it feels inside, the faster it becomes real outside. Your imagination does not only create a future, it creates a self-image. And here is a secret most people never learn. You cannot outperform your self-image. You cannot build a life bigger than the identity you imagine for yourself. If you imagine yourself as unworthy, incapable, fearful, unlucky, average, your actions will always fall to that level. But if you imagine capable, disciplined, valuable, creative, powerful, your behavior begins rising automatically. Imagination expands identity. Identity expands possibility. If you want a new life, you must first imagine a new you. Your brain loves what it sees repeatedly. Repetition makes an idea feel safe, and the mind always moves toward what feels safe. So if you repeatedly imagine success, confidence, growth, abundance, these outcomes begin feeling normal. Once success feels normal inside, your mind stops resisting it outside. Your imagination must make your future feel more familiar than your past. This is the secret behind affirmations, visualization, meditation, journaling, planning. They're all forms of mental repetition. What you repeat internally becomes what you create externally. Action without imagination becomes chaotic, and imagination without action becomes fantasy. The goal is alignment. This means your imagination shows you the direction, your emotions energize it, your belief supports it, your habits express it, your actions confirm it, your results strengthen it. This creates a self-reinforcing loop. Once you align imaginative power with consistent action, momentum arrives. And momentum is the greatest force behind all achievement. The mind plans it. The body expresses it. Reality echoes it. Everything you want must be built twice. First in the workshop of the mind, then in the physical world. People with strong imagination experience their success mentally long before they live it physically. By the time their results arrive, they feel familiar, even expected. This is the power of inner architecture. Reality becomes an echo of a mental blueprint. The weak try to build life with their hands. The wise build life with their mind first. Desire is the fire. Imagination is the architect. Together, they become unstoppable. Desire gives emotion. Imagination gives direction. Desire fuels intensity. Imagination provides clarity. When your desire is strong and your imagination is clear, you create a force that bends reality in your favor. This combination is the secret behind every major achievement. Here is a simple practice that activates your imaginative power daily. Daily Inner Vision Ritual 1. Sit quietly for 1 to 2 minutes. 2. Breathe slow. 3. Picture your future with clarity. 4. Add emotion. Feel it. 5. Add action. See yourself doing the work. 6. Repeat until the image feels familiar. This takes less time than scrolling your phone, but changes your entire trajectory. Small internal rituals create massive external results. Your imagination is not fantasy. It is the workshop where your life is built. This is where the invisible becomes visible, where desire becomes blueprint, where ideas become plans, where a new identity is shaped, where the future begins. Use this inner workshop wisely. Use it deliberately. Use it boldly, because the world you step into is the world you first created in your mind. And that is the true power of imagination. You've just traveled through the quiet workshop of your own mind, a place where ideas are born, shaped, and strengthened. A place most people never visit long enough, but you did. If desire is the fire, then imagination is the hand that shapes the flame. Every vision you hold, every possibility you dare to picture, every future you allow yourself to mentally step inside, is already taking form, quietly, invisibly. Tonight, before you sleep, see your desire clearly, without fear, without limits, without noise. Just you and the image of what you're becoming. Because the picture you hold in your mind is the blueprint your life will slowly begin to build. Imagination is not fantasy. It is direction. It is intention. It is the architecture of destiny. Use it deliberately. Use it boldly. Use it every day. Thank you for listening. This is the Audioverse Listening Library, where every word awakens the power within.